Oh baby, it's cold outside. The snow is falling and the temperatures have dropped so low, nobody wants to be out there. What am I going to do to pass my time inside today? I'm going to make an old world pasta dish. Spinach and ricotta stuffed manicotti. And I'm going to make the pasta from scratch. Let's get started. Manicotti is one of the oldest pasta shapes, and it's made today the same way our ancestors made it. Pasta sheets are rolled thin, cut into kind of big squares, and then boiled and stuffed with all sorts of different kinds of fillings. Back in the late 1700s and early 1800s, about 1798 and 99, the French occupied the Abruzzo region of Italy, and the Italians were introduced to French crepes. Before long, the Italians invented their own version of the French crepe and began replacing pasta sheets in all sorts of their own dishes. They named their crepes Crespelle, and that's what we're going to make today. The biggest difference between the French crepe and the Italian Crespelle is the absence of butter in the batter. What I've got is 8 eggs in a measuring container, and I'm going to add about a cup of flour and a teaspoon of salt. To that, I'm just going to add about a cup of milk, because I'm going to leave a little bit more in here, and I'm going to use what we call a stick blender or a burr blender, and I'm just going to quickly blend all this stuff together. Takes about 30 seconds or so. Now I'm going to stop and take a look at this, and I'm going to add just enough more milk to total 4 cups of liquid. One more spin. And now we're just going to set this aside for about 15 to 20 minutes to allow the flour to absorb some of the moisture and form a nice thick batter. While our Crespelle batter is resting so that it thickens a little bit, I'm going to mix the manicotti filling. I've got 2 pounds of whole milk ricotta cheese. I don't recommend using skim or low-fat cheese for this. And I'm going to add 1 10-ounce package of spinach, uncooked, that's been thawed, and I've squished it between the palms of my hands to get all of the water out of it so that you can see how easily this is pulling apart. I'm going to add 4 ounces of grated mozzarella cheese and 4 ounces of grated provolone, a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano, about a half teaspoon of nutmeg, salt, and coarsely ground black pepper, and 3 lightly beaten eggs. Mix all of this together with a spatula. You really don't want to have to put your hands in this, so be kind of patient with it. It'll all come together because you don't want to compress this or turn it into like a tight little ball. You want it to stay a nice loose filling that's evenly blended, and you'll be able to kind of tell when it's all mixed together because the egg will have turned the cheese kind of yellow throughout the entire mixture. Oh, this is looking wonderful. Yum. The eggs are going to make this cook up and kind of give our manicotti like a souffle centers to them. That's perfect. I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator to chill for a little while, and we're going to move over to the stovetop and make our Crespelle. My crepe batter's been sitting here for about 15 minutes and it's really smooth and slightly thickened. It's at the perfect stage to start making the crepes. I have a nice little, I call it my nifty little 6-inch crepe pan, and it's square. I bought this like 20 years ago. I don't even remember where I got it. But if you don't have anything that size, A nice round, a 6 or a 7-inch nonstick skillet will work just fine. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my pan with a little bit of no-stick spray. Now, you do not have to repeat that with every crepe you do. Maybe every 4 or 5, if one seems like it's going to stick a little bit, throw a little more no-stick spray on there. Now I'm going to heat my little griddle over medium-high heat. And we're just going to let that sit there for about 30 seconds because we really want the pan to get hot. My pan is hot, and I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of the Crespelle batter to the pan, and I'm going to tilt it around to evenly coat it and put it back on the flame. Now, your first Crespelle is going to take the longest to cook, and that's going to be kind of your guide for timing. And what you're going to want to notice is the crepe is immediately going to dry around the sides, and you're going to wait for the entire surface of the top to dry out. Now, with the first crepe, this can take 25 or 30 seconds, but it's going to start going a lot faster as you move along and you get the hang of this. And we've got a little bit of bubbling here on the side. And as you can see, this is all drying out here across the top. It's getting close. The second I can get a spatula underneath one corner, all I'm going to do is lift and flip. The first side is done, and the second side I'm immediately going to lift this up off the heat, and when the crepe slides easily from side to side, it goes off the pan on the plate. I'll do one more for you. I'm just going to lift this off the heat. 1/4 cup of crepe batter. Swirl the pan. Back on the flame. Wait for the edges to turn dry and the surface to get dry and get a few bubbles on it. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let me add that you're going to get about 20 to 22 crepes out of this batter. In a minute or so, I'll be able to, oh, you can see the little bubbles forming in here now across the surface. That's what, maybe 20 seconds. See if I can get the spatula underneath. Flip. How easy is that? Lift it off the flame, slide it around, and just keep making crepes till all of your batter is used up. Filling manicotti couldn't be easier. I've sprayed a 13 by 9 inch casserole with some no-stick spray, and I'm placing each Crespelle on a flat surface, and I'm going to add a generous 1/4 cup of my filling into the center, and don't make the mistake of spreading it out to the edges. That'll happen as they bake. I'm rolling each one and putting it inside down into the pan. I'm going to add another generous 1/4 cup of filling into the center of this Crespelle. I'm going to pull up the flap closest to me, roll it over, put it open side down, and lastly, I'm going to top. I'm not going to over drench these in sauce. I'm going to put about 1/2 of a cup of sauce across the center of each row, just like that, just a nice 1/2 cup. And then I'm going to top the centers with a sprinkling of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Oh, don't they look wonderful already? And they haven't even gone into the oven. Last thing now, pop these into a 350-degree oven for about 25 minutes. And while these bake, I'm going to make my second pan of manicotti. This is a dinner that's going to make everybody forget about the snow and the cold. And leftovers are going to reheat great tomorrow too. And stay tuned to to our next Kitchen Encounters episode when I teach you how to make meatballs and marinara sauce. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.